Pond 5.
All right. All right, all right, all right. Like Matthew McConaughey says, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Jessica, and I'm just going to have everybody say their name and where they're from, and then we're going to go into the structure of the panel. So quickly. All right.
Lanchi Pham, San Jose.
Use your mic.
Lanchi Pham, San Jose.
I want everybody to put their mic near their mouth.
Pond 5.
Here you go.
I'm Rickey Dunbar. I'm from Oakland.
I'm Morgan Haines. I'm from Santa Cruz.
What organization are you from?
I'm a business owner out of Oakland, electrician.
Okay.
And I'm a business owner of Haines Custom Coatings, painting contractor.
Yeah, Daniel from Mission Hiring Hall here in San Francisco. I'm a senior workforce development advisor for Mission Hiring.
Mark Brown, custom cabinet maker, Hayward. Been in the Bay Area since 1994.
Tina Hinnant, San Francisco, Department of Public Health.
Pond 5.
All right. So this is how we're going to do the structure of this panel, okay? As you can see, we got 6 people on a panel, and we got about an hour, okay? So that means each person is going to get 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to interview him for 8 minutes, for example. He's going to start, or whoever is comfortable starting, raise your hand. All right. Just like we're in kindergarten.
Because I have to leave at 4 o'clock sharp.
Cool. All right. He's going to start first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 minutes for the audience. All right. And then we're going to go to the next person. They're going to talk for an interview for 8 minutes, audience for 2 minutes. Now you're wondering, how am I going to keep track? I have my own timer up here. So everybody's going to be on the clock. All right. Just like you're at work, except this is fun, right? Oh, wait, we love work. Oh, right. That's why we're here. All right. So allow me to start. All right. Chief, since you're brave. All right. If you want to hand him the mic. All right. And all we're going to do is kind of ask you some sort of basic questions. All right. Let's go. First one. Please describe your business and the training to get into your business.
Hello, I am Lanchi Pham, based out of Local 393 in San Jose. We serve the Santa Clara and San Bernardino counties, plumbing, pipe fitting, steam fitting, and HVAC. To get in, take an exam, pass with 70%, 75% or better, get put on the list, and get called out to work in order of your test score. They'll do an interview. If you're an HVAC contractor and you plan to become an HVAC apprentice, you must solicit your own work and get a sponsorship for your apprenticeship. Your apprenticeship is 5 years long.
When you say you got to do the training and the apprenticeship, how long is each one of those things? How long is the training and how long is the apprenticeship if you wanted to be, let's say, a pipe fitter or do
Apprenticeship is the training. So there's 5 years, work 40 hours a week once you're accepted. It take about 15 to 30 people. For reference, there's about 1,000 people who apply per year, although the number is increasing.
That's
8
good.
hours a day. On fall and spring semesters, 2 semesters a year, and summer is free, except if you want to take extra classes. You have nighttime classes, either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. 3 hours from 5 to 8. So the typical day is 6 to 2, a break, then 5 to 8, and then the next work day.
So is your training set up like you have classwork and then you have to go to certain days where you have to do, like, we in healthcare, we have clinicals, right? Do you guys have that? Or is it more of like, hey, these days are set for in-class training and these ones are set for on the job? How does that work?
There isn't a set on the job or class day training. There are certain classes. So for example, an advanced drawing class, working with Bluebeam, Revit, and AutoCAD. However, you will learn what you need to learn throughout the workday. So as an apprentice, you might start sweeping, you might start getting material, you might start moving things around, and you might get into burning pipe, to brazing, all that sort of things. So it's actually it's not linear for everybody. It's not the same for everybody. What you learn in class is going to be the same, but the job, it all depends on which company you go to, what they want you to do.
So how old do you need to be to start the training?
You have to be 18 years old to start. You can apply at 16 years old, but you have to have a letter from your high school approving of the training, and you must have a date for your graduation. You cannot be dispatched until you're 18 years old.
And I know you were talking before about some of the perks of this training. You want to tell them what the perks are? How there's no cost and they
There's
get
no
paid?
tuition. Absolutely no tuition, no debt. You start at $35 an hour and you end at around $76 an hour, including benefits. You start getting healthcare around 6 months in.
Wait, how much do you end with?
$76 an hour.
76. You heard that. That's pretty good, right?
Foremen make 12% more, and general foremen make, I believe, 20% more. Superintendents and inspectors and detailers usually make foreman wage. But there's absolutely no debt, absolutely no training cost, no book cost. I have not paid a cent for my training. You just have to get in, and there's healthcare, no premiums for healthcare, fantastic healthcare. You get a health savings account, you get a pension and a 401k.
Now, let's say you wanted to branch off. You wanted to, you do your union job. Could you also pick up additional side work as an independent contractor where you're, getting your own clients?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So you would and there wouldn't be any conflict of interest, right?
Not unless you quit the union entirely and go on your own. That's when it becomes a conflict of interest. But if you're doing it at the same time, there's not too much of an issue.
Okay. And so how many hours a week would you need to, work for the union or?
So normal work week is about 40 hours a week. In order to get your raise every 6 months, you have to complete the 6 months. You have to get 880 hours for 6 months, and you have to complete the semester with the passing grade.
So how do people find apprenticeships? Do you guys link them up, or do they have to do this on their own?
It depends. A lot of different unions have different apprenticeships. There's electrical, there's cement masonry, there's all sorts of things. This one, you just go to the website and you apply. The application used to be once a year. Now they're all year round. It all depends on the specific union, all that. So there's a good website called calapprenticeship.org, I believe, and it covers the entire trades apprenticeships of California. All
right. So calapprenticeship.org. Go there if you want to go for his job. Okay. Pipe fitters. All right. So then what's the day-to-day like when you're actually on the field after your apprenticeship?
During apprenticeship and after apprenticeship, it depends. As an apprentice, you can't work alone until you reach the 4th year, then you can work alone. But everything is different every single day. Right now, I'm working in NVIDIA. We are working on the buildings for their data centers, the various AI tools, all sorts of things. We're working on CDA lines for the employees there. So, for example, I might wake up at 3 a.m., go to the gym, I go to work, I drive to work. The commute is usually 20 minutes, but it could be all over the Bay Area. So I have worked in Hollister. The commute was about 50 minutes. Also worked 5 minutes away from my house. So it all depends where you're sent. I'll get my tools ready. We start at 6 sharp. If you're on time, you're late. And you'll usually do a safety meeting, stretch and flex, and then you get to work. The foreman will usually give you your assignment for the day, or if you already know what it is for the entire day, then you go ahead and do it.
If they wanted to figure out how to get more money or get in touch with somebody at their union to try to convince them to increase the wages, what kind of department would they have to contact in order to do that, or what kind of person?
So the contract is renegotiated every 3 years.
Okay.
I believe every 3 years or every 5 years. I'm not really sure. But that is taken up with the business managers and the business agents who you can talk to personally, or you can set a motion during the union meetings.
Okay. And can you tell me about what other kind of, I know you said you do HVAC and you also do pipe fitting. What other kind of certifications do you do?
So certifications are a little difficult to define because some of them is plumbing. Obviously, you get a license to do plumbing, you get a license at the end of the apprenticeship.
Who is the license through?
I believe the state of California.
State of California. Which department? Do you know the department by?
I'm totally sure. No.
Do you know the department? CSW. Okay.
All right.
All right. So look there, guys. All right. And any finishing thoughts that you want to talk about before your time's up?
It's a fantastic career choice. I would recommend to anybody who is physically inclined and likes to work with their hands.
All right. I like that. So we didn't even finish the 8 minutes. We got 30 seconds left, and I love that. So now we're gonna get questions for 2 minutes. Okay. Anyone questions? Right there. She's doing the whole Ellen DeGeneres thing
Thanks.
before she was canceled.
Do you provide your own tools?
No. They provide all tools for you. You're not allowed to have your own tools. They're all tools for you. You go to the job site and provide a bucket of tools for you as well as all power tools.
Wow, amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really nice. You actually have a question. Go in the back.
Do people get injured on the job? And if so, what kind of protections or benefits they have to take care of them while they're injured?
So it depends on the company especially, but you do get protection as a worker by OSHA. They're having injuries on the job. You're always taught safety from day one. It's very important to take care of your body. That's why we stretch and flex. That's why we always go to safety meetings. It's essential.
That's really good. Do people get paid for the mileage that, in between going to different work sites?
It depends.
Okay.
If you are a foreman, for example, with a truck, very often you'll get paid mileage for your gas and you get a company card for that. For example, I had to go to San Leandro for training, for iPad training, as I've been trained up to become a foreman. So I was given gas reimbursement in order to travel to San Leandro during the workday. But it depends on the company. It depends on the apprentice. It all depends.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to stop right there and we're going to do the next person. And you want to hand him the mic and then just remind us what your name was again?
My name is Rickey Dunbar.
All right, Ricky. So we're going to ask him similar questions because I know you do Rick's Enterprise Electric, right?
Yes.
Okay. You want to scoot off this side then? Okay. You're welcome. So I want to ask you about the training.
Okay. First, I have two businesses. I have one is Rick's Enterprise Electric, and also one is Dunbar Family Electric Incorporation. The reason for two licenses, one is a corporation, and it protects protects me when I'm dealing with newer clients. My older clients I operate under my original license. So I had an option to split them up. I'm also a certifier and a qualifier. We call them qualifiers so that they can take the test with the California State License Board.
So let's talk about your being an electrician first.
Being an electrician.
Okay.
I started out in 2007 as doing handyman things and all that, trying to find out what I wanted to do. And I'm telling you, it was quite an adventure. It was. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot in training with working for on different sites and stuff like that to find out what hands-on, because I needed to make money as well. It wasn't just trying to get training, it was trying to get money, trying to live.
Right. So let's talk about how people can be an electrician. So yes.
Through it.
All right, let's do it.
It's not just pinpoint on that. You just go to some type of programming mindset thing. No, what best way to do it is you need to get and start working in construction, because all of these jobs that we're doing start with construction, and then you find where you want to be, what you want to do, and then you'll learn how to do what it is that you see others doing. And you have to be motivated. And so what I got motivated into electrical, and I said that's what I wanted. So I started to pursue it. I started doing it on a handyman level. I started going on Craigslist and stuff like that, putting myself out there to do things that I had learned. And as I began the thing began to pick up real fast.
Mhm.
I went from $40,000 a year to $100,000 a year within 2 years.
What places can they go to get training for?
You can go if you want to try to do it training wise like
Yeah.
that. They have institutions like Lanchi College or one of those community colleges, and they have a 6-month program, but that's just the beginning. That's not even it. Trust me, they cannot teach you that electrical. You have to learn that in the field.
Yeah.
And that what they teaching you is not certifying you, it's not doing, it's just getting you friendly to electrical, getting you friendly. To get a relationship with electrical, you have to get in the business. And don't let nobody tell you otherwise. And you have to have work with someone who knows what they're doing. And then it began to rub off on you. You begin to understand. Because when I went and took the test for my license, it was not easy. And it was just fortunate I had been several years in the trade before I went to get the license. And the license is everything. It went from 100,000 to 600,000. So
Wow.
it's a lot of money involved in electrical, a lot of money. And you make like sometimes $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, even $11,000 a day within hours. But you just got to know what you're doing. You got to also sell yourself. You got to know how to sell yourself.
You were talking about getting job training, and you're talking about kind of apprenticeships. So where can you find an apprenticeship?
Well, like with me, I have guys that I have certified. They have apprenticing up under me. And what I do is if they don't have to have tools, I have supplies, all types of materials, tools I have tools for every trade, not just for electrical. Because you're in the business of making money. First of all, realize that. You're in the business of making money. And you need to, as you grow, because if you're young, like me, I'm 64, be 65 in a few months. And you have to be, if you grow, if you're young, you can make millions.
Well, the thing is, I think it's more than just money, right? It's also about how to provide electricity in a safe and cool looking way, right? Because everybody wants to have a dope house, right? Everyone has a functional structure that really can stand and not have electrical blowouts or something like that happen. That's in a real emergency, right? So it's how do we find a way to make money in a way that's actually meaningful?
Okay.
I love that.
When I walked in this room, I looked at the electrical setup here. I'm just attracted to it. Even the HVAC systems and all of that. I see the vent, the duct work, the ventilation. I see everything. When I walked into someone's house and they call me for a certain thing, they may call me for electrical troubleshooting. If an electrician, he says electrician, if he cannot troubleshoot, he is not a very good electrician. He's supposed to know, once he knows that there's a problem here, he must know how to track that problem. He must know how to resolve that problem. And then he knows what the NEC says about certain panels and whatnot, and how to make recommendations, how to upgrade, how to make things safe. And he should know. And then he also has to know how to write his contracts. He has to know how to write his proposals. There's a lot of other things that go in, but the most important thing is a good electrician is a troubleshooter.
Yeah.
He can tell you exactly after he troubleshoots, after he pulls out his testers and whatnot, he can test everything and find out what the problem is and fix it. There's not one problem that an electrician cannot fix when it comes to electrical.
Is there somebody that regulates it to make sure that the quality is there?
The regulations comes from the city, the city building department. If you're doing inspections, but in most cases, just like going out I do inspections as an electrician. They'll call me and pay me to come out and do electrician. I've traveled all the way to Houston, Texas, and did inspections. And when I go, they'll pay for my airlines, and they'll pay me, several $1,000s to go and do it.
So how do you find clients? Like, I know you advertise.
Like I've been in it for a few years,
Mhm.
so now I've got repeat customers, and most of my clients, they don't have a problem with paying, but some do.
Yeah.
So the ones that do, I have payment plans. All that set up.
Mm.
So once a month, my money is constantly generating.
Huh.
I try not to turn anybody away. I try to fix everything. Sometimes I might get a little charitable and say, I'll just do it and just say, okay, I'll help you. I'll help you because you need it.
All right. So I want to put a pause there, and I want to open the floor up for 2 minutes of questions from the audience.
So as an entrepreneur, where did you learn about like S corps and how to register your company, and then also how to make contracts for your clients and how to charge and what your value was?
Being
Closer.
being very attentive, to what the business world is all about. When I was taking my exams, or when I was speaking with other business owners and whatnot, and I wanted to know about the different corporations and whatnot. And I wanted to get a corporation started as well. So I drove over to Sacramento. And mind you, I already had my sole provider, which I use a lot. But I went to Sacramento, and then they gave me a choice of what type of corporation I wanted. And then they told me the most likely choice for me would be the S. And then when I went before the bank, because I had to go to the bank, you have to go to the bank. You also have to put an advertisement online for 30 days it's like introducing yourself, and it's required. You have to know how to get your business up and running. And you have to also get the business license and all that. And with a sole provider, you don't need an EIN number. You already have it. It's your social security number. But with the corporation, I have to have that EIN number. So it's just, you learn stuff as you go. Just be attentive. The most important thing to get is that license. The license is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Sometimes you'll see people advertising just to use your license, but be careful, because people will get you in big trouble. You have to be careful of people.
You mentioned that you could make millions as an electrician entrepreneur. How many years would it take to build up that business, and how many employees do you have? And how much does an employee make?
On
1 minute for response.
In most cases, what I have anywhere from 6 to 8 employees, 68. And they make in the range from $300-400 a day. And then I got one that makes like $800 a day. He's my foreman. He handles things when I'm not around. But we're constantly busy. We're 198 electricians short in just in California alone, because there's so many retired, so many old guys have stepped out. Matter of fact, my mentor, he's retired, but he always checks in with me and sends me his clients. He also sends me stuff, crazy stuff, because he's old now. But, I try to accommodate him because I love this guy. He was there for me.
That's good. That's good to have friendships like that.
Are you hiring, and what's the process?
What's the process? The process is this. I do all of my vetting. I do my vetting. I want guys that I encounter, I kind of like them and stuff, and I see that they got good work ethics. They want a job. They want to work. I'll do the rest. I provide the tools. I have the tools. I bring them to the job site. I introduce them to everything, get their names, the social security numbers and whatnot, get them on my paper. Once I get them on my paper, then I turn them loose.
All right.
And then hopefully, sometimes I'll go online and get the guys that have license that have no direction. Sometimes people have license, they don't even have direction. They don't even know how to run it. They don't have to start a business. They only have a license just to work for somebody else. I don't want the crumbs, I want the cake.
Okay, so now we're gonna move to the next person who's ready to talk. You want to go next? Okay, you're ready? All right. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So yeah, I'm Morgan Haines. I'm a painting contractor out of Santa Cruz, California. I'm second generation. My father was a painting contractor. And I specialize in high-end custom residential. I do a little bit of commercial. I keep my crew pretty small, between 2 and 3 guys. I mean, I plan to scale, but typically when I hire, I don't hire based off resumes. I hire based off of interview, and I see how much empathy and passion people have. Because you can't really train that.
So,
You know?
speaking of training, is there a certain license or certification you need to be a painter?
No, not at all.
Okay. And is there like an apprenticeship associated with it?
If you want to go union, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I typically, like I say, if a guy is really driven,
Mhm.
I usually move them out of apprenticeship in about 3 years. But some people it could take, I mean, by California State License Board standards, 4 years is the experience you need to become a licensed contractor as a painting contractor.
Okay, so there is some type of license that you need to obtain.
Right.
And how are the fees for that, roughly?
The fees, I think getting my license was altogether, it was, I mean, under like $600. It was
Okay.
like $700, I think, actually. Yeah.
A couple of years ago, some number of years ago?
Yeah, that was a year and a half ago.
Do you have to renew it each year or every couple of
I
years?
think it's either every 2 or 5 years. I can't remember.
Okay. And if you go through a union, does your union cover that cost?
No.
No.
As far as I know, no, because union doesn't want people to go to get licensed.
What is the
No, they don't.
what is the benefit of having it union versus independent contractor in terms of painting?
In terms of painting, I mean, just like in general, like I'm not here to bash on unions. I think they're a little bit of bureaucracy. I'm not really for them. I mean, I like to know who's on my job sites. Like you were saying, like I vet anybody that's on my job site because we work with clients who have multi-million-dollar homes.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I understand that union can take care of that as well, but you're a little bit more of a number, and there's a lot more margin for error when you have people on your job site that you don't know.
Somebody could argue that, you know, the union does provide more representation in terms of job security.
Right.
And it could also being an independent contractor also, if they work under your company per se, like what kind of job protections would they have if they were to screw up on a job or anything like that at your organization?
If someone's to like damage something, like it comes out of my pocket as the employer, I'm not going to make them liable for it. I'm the one who has the insurance and the bond, and I'm the one who's there to complete the job.
Also, when you're opening up a painting company, you have to have some type of insurance.
Yes.
Who do you get that insurance from?
I think mine is through ACCO, I believe. It's just a big
basic
insurance company. Yeah.
Okay, just look it up.
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right. And in terms of, so you know, you said you go to be an apprentice for 4 years if you're going to get your license for it. But how do you find work? I know you could advertise on social media, right? But let's say, you know, in nursing, we have, you know, recruiters, but we also have other organizations that we can be a part of to try to get jobs. Is there something similar for that for painters?
Well, I
Like
know
a network?
Yeah, I know Indeed is really big these days. And yeah, networks. There's a couple of different apps that are good for it. I mean, I'm old school. I'm like, I'll walk onto a job site, you know, like when I was working for other people, like that's how my dad ended up getting a lot of contracts with custom home builders is he'd walk onto a job site, he'd hand the general contractor a business card. And I mean, I'll be a little careful on like, I had somebody walk up to one of my job sites the other day and the dude looked really sketchy. He's like, hey, you guys need any help? And I, get clean first, you know?
How do you know what rates to say for doing a paint job?
As far as like a starting wage?
Yeah.
I mean, I look at my books and what it takes me. Like I can tell you exactly how much it cost me to paint 1 square foot of drywall, 1 linear foot of door trim, you know, and I base it all on, that's where I base my starting wages at. I hire people at $25 an hour, experience or not. And if you have experience and you show me that like you're worth more than $25 an hour.
Mhm.
And the main thing is just showing up on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me not catching you on your phone every 5 minutes. Like that's gonna get you a raise faster than being a rock star painter. You know, because I've seen it too many times where someone's got this ego and they're really good, and then they're sitting there on their phone.
What are the health risks of being a painter?
I can tell you from firsthand experience after, you know, painting for years, and like I typically would never wear a particle mask if I'm spraying outside. I had to have a procedure done on my nose because I got they had to like go in and like cauterize the inside of it to open it back up because my nose basically shut from inhaling so much. And it's, you know, I mean, the VOCs are low these days, but it can be an issue. And then there's also, I mean, I don't know, my hands are just beat up because I'm working with hand tools all the time.
Right.
You
So
know?
making sure that the quality of the paint is good.
Yeah.
So this is just a personal question, but what kind of paint would you want to use for your house? Because I know there's been a whole thing about lead and some of these paints and everything. So that could be really dangerous if you're trying to get a job as a painter, right? So what kind of,
Yeah, it's especially in
where do
California.
you buy it?
Yeah, especially in California. Well, I mean, any paint store, you know, Sherwin-Williams,
Okay.
Kelly Moore's out of business, but
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
Benjamin Moore, California's EPAs are pretty heavy.
Mhm.
So we have probably the most regulation in the country for our paint. And I have a joke. I say it's so healthy you could, it's so non-toxic you could basically drink it.
Yeah.
But after years and years and years of inhaling particles from spraying,
Mhm.
is what caused my nose to kind of swell up essentially.
Yeah, because like I was thinking about like the health insurance aspect of being a painter, and through your company, would they be able to get a good plan?
I'm not at that point yet. I would love to be. I'm just not quite there yet.
Okay.
Um,
And through a union, would they be able to get health insurance?
typically, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's like a draw, and then 401k?
Yeah. Once again, I'm not at that point yet. I would love to.
Yeah.
I've worked for an employer who had 401k, and actually he had offered health insurance for $1 an hour off your pay, off your hourly. And 90% of the crew didn't want it. Why that is, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you would think that if there's health risks associated with being a painter, you know, you gotta get your nose done, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would want to all come together so you can get a good insurance plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to add? You got 23 seconds left.
A very important asset to have if you're looking to get into construction is a vehicle.
Yeah.
I'll put it out there right now because I've done multiple construction jobs, and it's so important to have a vehicle because the job site always changes.
Can your company help you, or can you write it off on your taxes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah. I'll put ladder racks on your truck. Like as the employer, I'll do that because it helps me.
All right. So that was a great job, everybody. So we're going to do 2 minutes for questions now. All right. All right. And if you want a question, keep your hand raised so that way we can kind of know how many people there are so we can kind of shorten up the time. Make sure we get to everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Going.
How hard it is to get into electrician apprenticeship?
No, I'll talk about painting.
Oh, paint.
Talk about painting. We'll do it at the end. At the end for Ricky, okay? I know, he's a hot commodity. Yeah, I know.
Is it during
So painting questions.
yes, during the rainy season, if you paint outdoors, does that affect your productivity where you can't paint on certain days?
Typically, yeah. There's also materials that they make that are, you know, quick drying, and you can apply them in really low temperatures, but yeah, it'll dim the amount of hours we can work in a day.
So you guys talk a lot about like unions and certs and all these things I haven't encountered, but say you wanted to go paint tomorrow, other than a truck, do you need something else or just like the will to work and come out?
Depends on your employer. I mean, like I tell employees I provide things for about the first month, like the hand tools you need, brushes, putty knives, scrapers. And then I usually tell people for about $200, you can get set up with everything you need. I provide everything else. I provide whites, all that. So
kind of the same question for him, but how did you figure out which kind of corporation you wanted to be? S corp.
so I
same?
talked to my CPA
Mhm.
before I had gotten licensed, and it all depends on the bracket, the financial bracket that you're in starting out. It's not worthy of going into an S corp if you're only going to make $100,000 a year.
Okay. So,
One more question.
okay, we'll do because he's helping running this. Come on, guys. Not that we're biased here, but we
When
are
it
a little
comes
bit.
to the supplies that you have, are all your projects fairly uniform, or do you need to get like different things for different situations and all of that? And does that add to the cost of being able to do a project or eat into your profits?
As far as like supplies, you mean like equipment or like actual like primers and paints and fillers and?
I guess it's kind of like both, right? There's the equipment that you have is supposed to last you a really, really long time, right? Or did you ever have to replace things pretty often?
One of the reasons I don't provide the quick $200, I mean, sometimes I will, depending on the case, but like I've had guys just absolutely ruin tools, and then like they'll show up for a month and then they'll stop coming, and they'll take all those tools with them, you know? So like I've kind of experienced both. Sometimes if a guy's like really showing me he wants to, I'll put a little more money into it. If somebody doesn't really care, then, you know, they can thrash their own tools.
All right. So we're going to go on to the next person who's ready. Okay. You want to talk, Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel from Mission Hiring Hall. So a little different, right? Change lanes for a second. Mission Hiring Hall is not a company that does construction. Mission Hiring Hall is a community-based nonprofit for over 50 years in the Mission District area and South Market in San Francisco. When we say community-based, we're looking at drawing from communities of color, typically diverse populations, immigrant populations, and providing job training to get into the labor market. And so that's been Mission Hiring Hall's principal calling for over 50 years.
What kind of job training do you offer?
Yeah, specifically, so we partner with OEWD, the Office of Economic and Workforce Development, and large construction firms, major builders, Swinnerton, Bolt, Webcor, I could go on and on and on, but billion-dollar construction companies that also support the programming at Mission Hiring Hall. And we have a 20-year plus program called CityBuild. And CityBuild and CityBuild Pro. CityBuild is a pre-apprenticeship training program that typically gets people ready to go into local 261 laborers union.
What's that mean?
It's a laborers union. So, how can I describe a laborers union?
Who do they represent? Let me ask you that.
What's that?
Who does 261 represent?
It's a local.
What kind of trade?
It's a local. It's a laborers union here in San Francisco. So jobs that get bid out and hired into use local 261 to provide the labor or laborers. Now, labor specifically could be everything from excavation, trenching, rough framing. You might let you touch some concrete, flagging. So when you're going down the street, right, and there's people trying to make sure that you can get around traffic. You get traffic control. And so it's a point of departure and training. It's 18-week training in which people that want to pursue a career in construction start.
So at Mission Hiring Hall, it primarily trains you for jobs that are in the trades?
In the trades, and then we have a whole other section, which I probably want to talk more about.
Yeah.
Because you got all the trades backed up here. Very good. Hats off to these guys. I think one thing, if anybody's interested in getting into construction and construction trades, talking with Eric, one of our organizer on the phone the other day, he said, "What would you say?" I said, "Get to the gym. These guys are athletes. You try to be a carpenter, do what these guys do into all kinds of spaces." What people don't realize, and one of the audience asked me at the break, what happens if I get injured? A gentleman asked, what happens if I get injured? Well, man, you got to get in some kind of shape. and take care of your body and take care of your mind and have the right outlook, what was the first things guys say? You guys got to show up on time. The best ability is availability. It starts there. You can't get yourself and life together to show up, clean, sober, focused. You can't move your body in a way to support getting up on a ladder.
Yeah.
And these guys both get up on ladders. You ever sort of go to your house and paint something sometime if you haven't already, and see how long your legs hold up on that ladder. Your calves start cramping when you come down the ladder. Guess what? You want to do construction? Get to the gym.
So at Mission Hiring Hall, do they provide on the job kind of training as well?
Yeah, it's so for the apprenticeship training there's lots of practical work. Our main training partner is City College.
What
San
apprenticeships
Francisco.
do they offer?
So apprenticeships typically up into the laborers union.
I mean, what type of trades? I know you said all types of trades, but if you want to be a painter or if you want to be
What will happen is they'll go through a general curriculum of construction, and if somebody has a good sense of rough carpentry, maybe they'll go out. They'll go out to local 22, the carpenters union. Yeah. Okay, or maybe somebody has some experience, maybe from their family, or has worked in the private space for construction, that has an aptitude for painting or has an interest.
Yeah.
We're talking about electrical, Mr. Dunbar here. Hey, that's a science. And all these guys do, all the contractors do one thing that I think needs to get addressed is they're fighting off any liability. People getting hurt, not having jobs, right? And so being skilled, being trained, and also just having a basic employability set that says, I know how to get to work.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the cats we deal with, they're getting their life together. I mean, everybody's been 20 years old once. Yeah. Right? And we didn't have it all together. You might have gone to Princeton or something, but you know what I mean? You're employable.
So in order for them, when they come into your site, Mission Hiring Hall, do they have to pay you in order to learn?
Yeah, thank you. No, these programs are grants from the city of San Francisco to increase high sector demand jobs, and construction is a large high sector demand jobs.
Shout out to the city and county.
Yeah.
So do they have to fill out, what's the procedure or the process for going in there? Do they have to fill out forms and then Social Security, drug tests, all that kind of stuff, or what?
Sure. So just like anything, there's a vetting process.
What's the vetting process?
Vetting process looks like, number one, we're going to go out and find you. In some cases, we're going to do recruitment throughout the city. We also have been around CityBuild for 20 years, so word of mouth, much like as business works, you get referrals and word of mouth. We have generational CityBuild participants, people that have their mom or dad got up in the union job, or even a private industry, but found a career, and hey, my son, John, we're going to get him going in the right direction too, right? And so that's common. So yeah, we go find you or you find us, and there's an application process.
So for somebody who's homeless or has substance use problems and is trying to recover, this going to Mission Hiring Hall might be a good idea for them, because that could kind of help them get back into the workforce, right?
Well, I mean, again, the philosophy is you meet people where they are at. And so if you come to Mission Hiring Hall and you ain't ready because you need to take care of some other parts of your life, there's other agencies within the social service panorama in San Francisco. And we say, wait, why don't you go take care of this and this and this and come back when you're ready.
So last question, do you help with getting these people licensed and certified, or is that on their own?
That's a responsibility typically of the union or whoever's sponsoring the apprenticeship.
Okay, but Mission Hiring Hall does not help with that?
No, we don't do that. We get you trained. We're trying to get you skilled so you can go work with these guys.
Okay.
These guys can call me after this and be like, look, I need somebody that can show up. I need somebody that knows this, that, and then maybe I can find a job fit.
All right.
I think
So we're
I
gonna do,
get to talk more.
we got 2 minutes for questions because we're running on
I
4:04.
want to talk more
I know. We can save it for maybe the end if we have time.
because CityBuild Pro
Okay.
is our construction administration and project management training, which is part of mission hiring, all an essential part. This is an 18-week training. I want to, give context. When you drive by a construction site and you see the fences and you see people moving, working, concrete, people framing, all this stuff, all the action, and the hats and the vests and all that good stuff. Well, there's somebody back in an office keeping track of all that. The money, the schedule, the milestones, the safety, you name it. It's called construction management. And so we have over 70 people a year that join our CAPSA or CityBuild Pro program. Those jobs, though, go straight into major builders and subcontractors, and that has a 75% placement rate. And the average wage coming in is $33.33 last year.
Okay.
And so when people want to make the change, lane change, whether you're medical, whether you're tech, wherever you're coming from, this is a very viable sector. And back to your other panel, the 5 major skills in construction administration, project management, professional skills in general: emotional intelligence, collaboration, adaptability, critical thinking, leadership, and active listening. This was from data, post-COVID data that said, what are professional services looking for? What skills? The hard skills, Microsoft Office and things you need administratively, yes, of course. But what we're really looking at, it's individuals that are well-rounded and ready to work.
Yeah, and active listening is also really important. All right, so we are gonna open up for 2 minutes. All right, we're gonna be pretty strict about this one. Questions? Just
so I
for
had a-
him or Daniel.
Yeah. So you talked about like health and being fit for your job, which makes sense. I was doing demolition for a while, just like swinging a sledge all day, and I just thought like, man, what's the longevity of this? And is there like an age where it's like you shouldn't think about construction anymore? Like if you're 35 or something like that, like maybe it's not time to go over and start swinging the sledge. Or
When you said sledgehammer, my shoulders started talking to me. So it's a sledgehammer. I'll give you this. So there is a transferable skills just for if you're in the tech sector that are transferable to the construction sector. If we're looking at construction management people, there's value to folks that worked in the field in the past because they know the site, they know what's happening. So if they can get trained on the administrative part and construction management part of it, then it's a great transferable skill to put across in construction management. So yeah, man, you don't want to be swinging like that for your life. It's probably not, viable for you, no matter how well you take care of yourself.
So does your org kind of help find a place for someone like?
Well, a lot of people go into CityBuild apprenticeship training, and then, I get 3 or 4 each cohort that are like, hey, I did CityBuild, I was a carpenter, I did some light safety inspection, I got put on, but I want to learn the construction management and jump on the other side. And so, yeah, there's a career path that looks like that. And those are good jobs and careers.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to cut that one and then we're going to go to the next person. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your organization and some of the training that's required.
So I've, been a cabinet maker in the Bay Area since 1994. Owned, this is my second company. We do about 2.5-3 million annually. We have about 16 of us, and I've got a 15,000 square foot facility in Hayward. And
so you guys just make cabinets? Anything else that you make?
we make anything out of wood.
Wow.
Yeah. Custom cabinet makers, millwork.
Now, do you need a license or a certificate?
To own the company, to manufacture wood, you don't need a license.
Okay.
To install it into a business or a home, you have to have a C6 license from the CSLB, and that's what I have.
And how do you get that license?
You
Do you need like a certain amount of experience, test, like you said?
I mean, there are a lot of different ways. I think the best way is just to go get a job with somebody, a cabinet shop, and learn how to become a cabinet maker. Like you said, you need an employer to sign an affidavit to certify that you have the experience to take the license. Qualifier. Yeah.
So if you wanted to make a cabinet but not put it in somebody's home, like a standalone cabinet, you don't need a license. But like if you wanted to install it in somebody's house, then you would need a license. I'm just trying to see where the line is.
There are a lot of cabinet manufacturers who just sell pre-made cabinets.
Okay.
We're custom cabinet makers. Most of our work comes from architects, interior designers, general contractors. Relationships that I've built, over the past 30 years here. I still love it every day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Obviously there's aspects I don't love, but we improve people's lives, and I love that part.
So you guys provide like on-the-job training for people to figure out how to learn?
We do it more in the way of an apprenticeship.
Okay. How long does your apprenticeship last?
It's not formalized like the union.
Okay.
The union has a very formalized setup. I'm looking for, like if you're like a high school graduate, we start everyone at $20 an hour. If you're a high school graduate, $20 an hour. If you've been working and have life skills, probably 25.
Okay.
And, we just find a place that you want to be at in the shop and go from there.
Would that include health insurance?
Yes. Yeah, we have full benefits.
Full benefits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Health insurance, 401k.
That's good.
Paid holidays. We have, the installers, the field guys get paid their commute one direction.
Yeah.
It's brutal out there for the field guys. Well, they have to get in their car. They have to drive at least an hour. And then work. 8 or 9 hours, and then get in their car and probably drive 2 hours.
Wow.
Right home, the afternoon traffic.
So what if you don't want to be in the field? Would your organization help you find a different type of job that you could have? Like what other kind of job would there be?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different, so I did want to say that even though we're a manufacturing company, there's a lot of tech involved. We have CNC equipment, machines that need, people who understand computers and are computer literate. And those are physical jobs, right? You're picking up sheets of material, putting it on the machine, but you're also bringing up the programming, understanding the code, take care of the machine. And then there's the whole design aspect of it. There's
when you say
actors.
So that would be like CAD. When you say computers, that's all CAD?
Well, there's the manufacturing side of it, right? And then there's the design side, and we do both. So we have designers, we have cabinet engineers, we have trade-specific software, and one of the biggest problems with our industry is that the skilled people are aging out. That's right. And we try to inspire younger people to come work with us, but it's not exciting in the way that if you were to be in some other it's not romantic. I think people think woodworking is like you're sitting there with your and you're creating beautiful pieces of furniture all day. That's not it's not like that. You know, you know, in the beginning, it's a job.
So can I ask you this? When you're doing on the job training, like you're going out in the field, does that pay more or less than somebody who's doing the design, the actual CAD work?
Well, so some people, I have a expert at the software that we use, and he has essentially a Vulcan mind meld with that software, and he makes a lot of money.
Okay.
Because he could go anywhere and, you know, make $60 an hour.
So somebody in tech, that might be a better transition for them if they wanted to do more.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They would need some sort of, you know, working on the shop floor for a while to understand the pieces and parts. But absolutely somebody who understands programming. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be able to pick it up quickly.
Because like
we use a program called Cabinet Vision.
there are some guys that I know who, I'm not going to name names, but they cannot use a hammer to save their life. But you can ask them to draw, design, architect, and they can do the whole thing. But would they be able to, I know you said that you need some type of experience in order to have that groundwork in order to be a good cabinet maker. But for people that don't want to have that experience, they just want to go and do the designs. Is that possible if you really do a nice apprenticeship?
There's other parts. Like he was saying, there's project management. We need APMs, assistant project managers. There's a tremendous amount of documentation and information and data that has to be extracted out of emails, call architects, interior designers, get the information we need, put in the proper place, and, basically, managed in that way.
Yeah.
If you don't want to work on the shop floor, but you want to get into the trades, I would say in any trade, essentially, there's a place for someone who is computer literate.
All right. So we got 2 minutes for questions. Anyone? Okay, here. Guy from the SFK, let's go.
Do you see struggles with people aging out, young people not coming in? Do you know of any other like mill workers or cabinetry folks that have found a way to get more people sort of into the business, or is it just sort of labor shortage across the board?
I think it's mostly that there's just not necessarily the drive to move into the trades versus going to college. There are a lot of institutions out there that are trying to change that are trying to show the advantages of becoming in the trades, a plumber, electrician. I knew an electrician who was a fireman, and he would get a Kelly day, which would mean he would work he had 5 days off in a row, and he would go and wire an entire house and make a lot of money. I'm not saying that you're going to go work for a cabinet shop and make a lot of money. I'm just saying that if you are driven to become an entrepreneur, there's a lot of ways to do that in construction.
Yeah.
So,
anyone else? One more question?
I have a two-part. One, just to be a little silly, what's the most elaborate and beautiful cabinet? Like, what's something that took the most time for your team that you've created?
We do a lot of large millwork projects. We just did one in Sonoma. It was a $750,000 millwork contract. And the theme of the house was diamonds. But diamond shaped.
Okay.
diamond shape, not
Okay.
diamonds, diamond shape.
I was like, wow.
And, there was some very complicated, I've been doing it a long time and, I feel like I know a lot. Man, I didn't know how I was going to build this. We did it. We made it happen. We had to resort to, using steel and other materials. And we do a lot, actually. We do all of the manufacturing drawings. We need to introduce other materials, glass, steel, whatnot, into our projects because sometimes the design team wants something that you just can't do out of wood. So you have to introduce other materials.
Okay.
Gorgeous. Thank you.
So we're going to do the last one, and that's Tina. So you want to talk about, the organization?
Clearly, I am not trades.
Healthcare.
I am healthcare. I represent San Francisco Department of Public Health. That being said, we definitely use the trades in our hospitals. You do have you have to have a separate certification to work trades in a hospital. But we have all the things that you could possibly imagine that all of these gentlemen here do. Plumbing, for instance, is huge in a hospital, and electrical. We can have some real problems there, and even paint, because people are so sensitive to materials, and we have patients that are ill and can't be exposed to certain things. And of course, with millwork, we have some really interesting cabinets. We have toilets that are hidden inside the cabinets. You might go into a bed, someone's hospital room, and you'll think, where's the toilet? And somebody will pull a cabinet open, and there will be a toilet. It's not especially private, but it's there.
So
Kaiser has its own cabinet shop.
Yeah. I used to work for Kaiser, and they actually did a thing where they have this building, and they test everything that they design in terms of how the hospital workers work in the particular environment that's been designed. So, I got to see that firsthand, which is really cool. But working for a Department of Public Health, we definitely need all of these skills. I can tell you that I have worked with Mission Hiring Hall in other capacities for over 30 years. I know I don't look like it, but but I have worked with Mission Hiring Hall from when I was recruiting for security officers, you name it, home health aides, guard cards, all of that, and even for DPH, we recruit for our cafeteria helpers and all kinds of different positions. So it's a great organization. As far as what we look for in terms of talent out there, if you're in tech, we have a ton of tech in healthcare, as you can well imagine. We also have a Department of Technology. So even if you are a pure techie and you really don't want to transition, you can look at our Department of Technology and find opportunity there. I can tell you that we do offer stability. There's great benefits, medical, dental, vision. We have a pension plan, which is pretty rare these days. I worked in private sector for forever, and this is the first time I'm like, oh, I get a pension plan. Wow, that's great. We also have deferred comp and all of those wonderful things. The thing that I would say that if you're looking to make a transition into healthcare and maybe into healthcare, either some sort of trade or technology, definitely do your research. There's plenty of resources out there. City College of San Francisco has a lot of certification programs. You have to have a certification in San Francisco to work as a janitor in our hospitals. And you can get that from City College. You have to have a certification if you want to be if you have a language skill and you want to do medical interpreting.
Yeah. What kind of certification would you need? And how long would it take?
So for something like the janitorial services, I think it is a 2-semester, so 1 year, certification program. And City College, if you're a resident, it's free. So why not go? Same thing with if you were doing interpreter services, Same thing with them. It's only, for them, it's 6 months. It's a 6-month certification. You can get certified as a home health aide. You can get certified as a CNA and an LVN. San Francisco City College even has a nursing program. So if you're interested in going to nursing, you can do that as well.
So when people think about healthcare, we typically think of, okay, you're going to work in a hospital. Well, you earlier were talking to me about population health and other types of departments. Can you kind of expand on that?
Absolutely. Department of Public Health is a multifaceted entity. Talk about diamonds. So most of you guys are familiar, I think, with San Francisco General.
Yeah.
So we are the only city and county hospital in San Francisco. We are also the only level 1 trauma center in San Francisco and northern San Mateo County. So if it's critical, it's coming to us. So certifications to become, something outside of that, there are definitely certifications. So let me just give you the overall who we all are. There's also Laguna Honda Hospital, long-term care facility, rehabilitation. So maybe you go and get your license. Believe it or not, you can become certified as a dance therapist. So if you love dance, you can go and be certified as a dance therapist, and that's how you teach people either to, learn to walk again, learn to move again. Sometimes, these guys might get injured on the job, and they just need to learn how to move again. And it can be fun to do it through dance. And I'm not talking about the jitterbug or any of the other hot new dances. It's just movement therapy. And those are certifications that you can get pretty readily. Sometimes being in the healthcare environment inspires you to do other things. Another facet of ours is, Jessica mentioned, is we have a division called Population Health, and their fingers are really in everything. For instance, you can become certified as what we call a behavioral health counselor or specialist. You can get a certification to become just a healthcare worker, where you're working with people and helping them to understand what the benefits of, that the city and county offers. So it's a call center. So you're really talking to people about, hey, we have this and that and that. The beautiful thing about public health and DPH in general is because we are tied to the city, we also offer all kinds of different city services. So you can, as a counselor, or healthcare workers, what we call them, you can say, oh, well, this person is telling me they have diabetes, but they're not managing it well. We find out, well, gee, they don't even have a way to get to the clinic to get their regular checkups. We can get them muni bus passes. Maybe they're not eating right. We can get them WIC and, dollars so that they can spend their money, hopefully on healthier foods. So, we're able to touch people in all facets. Maybe they have some homeless, concerns or substance abuse concerns. Our healthcare workers can get certified as a community health worker from City College, and next thing you're helping people, connect those services. The other thing that we are part of with population health is also EMS, which is emergency services. So, when the city goes on lockdown, that's what they do. They oversee all of that. And that's project management to everything you can think of that involves an emergency, figuring out what sorts of safety needs there are for the city, all of those things.
I just want to add that, there's also data analytics and those kind of jobs that are really vital, statistics, all those kind of jobs that people who are in STEM can really relate to and kind of transfer those skills over to working in healthcare. So that was awesome. We're going to do 2 minutes for questions. If there's a lot of questions, I may expand your time a little bit because I do want to talk about the process for getting a city job, because that could be something that people really care about. So for 2 minutes. Questions?
So I I didn't realize there were so many different jobs in healthcare. I just always think of like nursing and, having all these certs. So where can you look to see like the long list of
Fantastic question. Careers.sf.gov. We just opened what's called a Career Services Center. It's right there at City Hall. You can book time with a counselor. They can look at your resume, talk to you about what your interests are, and help you to kind of pinpoint the city positions that might be of interest to you, that you either currently have the skill set for, or help you to understand what the bridge would be to get there. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really great. Usually people call and they try to get a hold of someone. And if you've ever called a city agency, I'm sure you know what that's like. Yeah, actually I have little flyers that gives you a QR code and tells you what the times are. If you want to stop by my table out there, I have all that in.
Is go to Dr. Carlton B. Goodlet Place, room 110 in San Francisco. Okay. And the hours are usually till 5.
Usually
Okay.
8 to 5, but you want to schedule, you can call and schedule an appointment. But if you want to, either scan the QR code or take a flyer, you're more than welcome.
In the bio of the YouTube video, we'll put the link. So in case anybody wants to get help, they also, like you said earlier, talk about resume writing.
Yeah, they'll help you with your resume writing. The biggest issue with city is that we have a civil service process, and it can take a little while to actually be recognized. Persistence is key with the city. Eventually you'll get in there. Also filling out your application. And I would say that this applies to everybody in any job search. Look at the minimum qualifications. Make sure you call it out very clearly on your application. A lot of times I will look at a person's application. They'll say, I haven't been called. And I'll look and I'm like, well, you only put your job title down. I don't know what that means for your work history. So really just being mindful of that. I think that's really important, is how you fill out that application.
Okay. We'll do one more question. Okay. All right. So that we actually finished up on time. So that was great.
Excellent.
All right. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Did you want to ask one more question for Rick? I know everybody was really dying for it. No? Okay. Good. Thank you, everybody. Give yourselves a round.